Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome to Alive, my search for the best ways to live. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Jr., and today our guest is a fashion designer by trade, but he's also a sustainable fashion advocate, a name that needs no introduction, at least especially here in Cebu. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, Dexter Alazas.
Hi, Jiggy. Thanks for inviting me. So happy to see you.
Yes, Dex. I know we used to see each other a lot in many of our events, but we haven't seen each other in at least over a year now. And you know, the fashion industry is one of the badly hit industries in this whole pandemic. And I felt like reaching out to you and you know, compare notes and ask you some questions about what is going on with Dexter Alazas. And it's so funny, Dex, that we've known each other for decades now.
Yeah.
But I still don't know exactly how it all began. I've never had a chance and opportunity to talk to you and ask you about the Dexter Alazas story. So maybe you can tell me, and in so doing, tell everybody, how did it all begin? Take us through the journey that led us to where you are now, an established fashion designer, a sustainable fashion advocate. Kano sa man ni nagsugod you, Dex? When did you have the inkling nga murag padung yun ka sa fashion industry? Go ahead.
Well, it's always a cliche, Jig, that every fashion designer started out, at home, looking at their sister's closet or their mother's, the way your mother dress up or something like that. But it's definitely true because I'm the youngest of 8 siblings, and I have sisters that are always, look up to because like I'm the youngest, definitely. There's women in the family that are very, very close to me. So these are my sisters. And I think that's how it started because I also have relatives and cousins from either Manila or abroad who always, sends us clothes. The old times, people from abroad sends us clothes that are they're hand-me-downs sort of, and then they come to us and I always ask what brand is this and all that. And, there's a lot of imported brands before, but when I was young, I didn't know what it is. But all we have to do is really just to wear it as a sign of respect that it's given to us, no? And slowly I admired all my cousins and my relatives abroad, and so I said that maybe I can meet one of them one of these days. And then so looking at them per se, I would say that they're very stylish. And maybe that's partly the influence that started me into fashion. And then later on in high school, because I already developed this kind of like femininity inside of me, So I in school, because I went to Cebu Normal University. Back then it was Cebu State College. So I was like, I was in the performing arts, and I was also doing a little bit of writing. And one of my teachers said that I should write about fashion, since I'm like this, openly. And then they said that the prom season is now approaching, so maybe you wanna dress up all your friends, because I have barcadas also during that time that they want to ask me for opinions. And I said, yeah, maybe I can do that. I have a neighborhood sastre, no, so I can call them and I'll tell them what I want. And so I got a few clients already when I was in high school because of my friends. And so I guess that's how it started then. And, I was enjoying it. I did a few like fashion show directions when I was in high school. And then I organized a group and we danced, just about, anytime, anywhere back then. So I guess it's always there. And back to moving forward to when I was in college already, my sister had a small manufacturing for uniforms. So it's a small shop, and then whatever happened that time, she didn't want to pursue it anymore. So there's a lot of things in our house. Like our house looks like a bodega already because there's lots of machines, there's lots of mannequins and everything. And my dad said, maybe we'll sell this because there's no use to it and it's just bothering the whole space. And I said, maybe not. Maybe I want to continue that. And when I graduated in nursing, because I was studying nursing, that's when I realized that maybe before I move into becoming a nurse and go abroad, as per instructions for our parents. I would try, doing fashion. And so I took over my sister's shop, and then I established it. And then that started from there. But I did apprentice to a few designers here, like Leonardo e Gloria. I went to him for quite some time. I
Wow,
visited
did
the
you say
shop.
Leonardo e Gloria?
Yeah.
Leonardo Gloria was the one who made my prom clothes.
Oh my God. Yes.
When his shop was still in Gorordo Avenue, right? He had a shop in Gorordo Avenue.
Yes, there are two shops in Gorordo Avenue, the one in the Ayala Access Road and the one across BPI, the Ingrid Sala Santa Maria property.
Wow.
There,
Wow.
there's one there. So I always frequent that shop, and I observe, and we need to, because I didn't studied fashion. I didn't do
Formally.
formal. Yeah, formally I wasn't in University of San Carlos, because back then, when you want to become a fashion designer, you should study in fashion. So the only fashion school before was University of San Carlos, but it is a fashion school. It's a fine
Art
arts and
school.
advertising art
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And then, but I didn't. So I thought to myself, maybe because I don't necessarily need to study, fashion. I just tried my luck. So luck is really a big part in probably being a fashion designer, because either you studied fashion, so you know the skills, you know about it, or you're rich, you can establish your own, factory or something like that. But if you're lucky and you get the right, at the right time and the right place, probably that's what I was. So that's how it all began. But if I'm gonna tell you a lot of things about how it, the bumps and ins and outs of stuff, it takes a long time. But briefly, that's it. That's how I
So it was what year was this when you first established the equipment, used the equipment of your sister's business that closed down?
Okay.
Was this 1994? Did you already establish?
1994, yes, 1994. That was already the time that I graduated from nursing.
Okay.
And so it was already existing. So when it closed down, I already took over. It's not necessarily took over, it actually closed.
Okay.
It actually closed.
So you had to
And then,
open it again.
Yeah, open it again in our
As
house.
Dexter Alazas? No.
Yes, as Dexter Alazas. That's really the first business permit that I had.
Okay.
It's funny because the business permit is Dexter Alazas dress shop.
Okay.
It has to be like that back then. And so yeah, I established that in 1998. But before I established that in 1998, I did a lot of fashion shows. So I just need to be in the circle of these designers. I was able to win a design competition for Miss Cebu Tourism back then. And so people said, maybe this is really your inclination and this is really your destiny. So, well, you have to think about it. And so the turning point was I failed in the nursing exam for NCLEX.
Okay.
Abroad.
Okay.
So then I got good reviews for a fashion show. It's called Joie de Vivre. It was in Balls Disco.
Oh, wow. Balls Disco.
With all these friends of mine. Carrie Santiago was part of it, Sal Malto. So we did a big fashion show there. And Odge Hofer, our good friend, designer, who was writing for the Freeman before on Fashion Gospel, and his article said that I was sort of like, he liked my collection. Probably he said that, it was a black and white, Mexican, Spanish inspired, and, all these things. And he said, I might be the next, the next designer to watch for. And hearing that from someone who's really an authority in fashion back then, I would say it's very inspiring. And so probably I got influenced by that thought that, I was going to be the next fashion designer to watch for. So it got hold of me, and I said, maybe I'll try. So I never looked back.
So these two events happened simultaneously, you failing the nursing board exams and you winning an award for fashion. Is this correct?
Well, the winning the award was when I was that was, I think, 1996.
Okay.
When Miss Cebu Tourism happened. But the fashion show, I think, happened almost at the same year.
Okay.
I was reviewing for nursing.
Okay.
And my review wasn't really that good because when you're designers, you go out nighttime and then you talk about the fashion collection. And then I wasn't able to focus on the review.
Okay.
So definitely,
So what year did you quote unquote fail your board exams for nursing? Was it 94?
I think that I think that was 96, the same time. So all these things happened at
At the
one
same
time.
time.
Yes, and I was also getting a lot of awards for pageants, and there's like best in barong, best barong designer, and all that. And people say luck strikes in three times. So it happened like that, and so all these people are telling me maybe that you should pursue
So
it.
you took it as a
And
sign.
I took it as a sign. It's like a turning point, and I told myself, this is really what I love. I'm putting this on hold because of my nursing course, and I need to go to my mom because my mom is in the States back then. So I need
Dex, you
to,
already
but
had an inkling for fashion designing. In fact, you're a Cebu State College, now Cebu Normal University teacher,
yes.
even asked you to write about fashion. What on earth were you thinking? Why did you take up nursing in the first place?
Honestly speaking, my mom went abroad, so my mom is an immigrant there, and so it's part of being a youngest in the siblings, and you're the last hope of the family to really make it abroad or something like that, because my brother is already there, but my mom is there. I needed to take care of her at the same time. So I needed to really pass the nursing exam, go abroad, and earn a living there, probably like that. But when that was really like sort of monetary gains, you have to
Mhm.
think about the future and
Mm.
what is stable and stuff. Because I had cousins who were jewelry designers before and who had manufacturing companies, and my titas would always say, "Oh, we spent so much with our kid studying in USC, but still married lang gihapon and didn't really continue on doing this and all that." So yun sila, gasto ra ba kayo na ang nurse ang fine arts? The plates are so expensive, and
Yeah.
maybe may pagdiretso na lang kag nursing because it's really a sure thing.
So daghang kay mga
So that's what
cautionary
happened.
tales ang imong mga paryente. Daghang kay mga cautionary tales ningon sila nga it's not going to work. So ikaw you
Yes.
persisted in taking up nursing, and in fact went to the level of the board exams already, right? Pero at the same
Yeah,
time, did
I
you still
passed the
dabble in
local
fashion?
board.
Nagkuhan ka pang Dex while you were in nursing school. Were you still
Yes.
sort of uh, dabbling in fashion designing and all that stuff, or focus you got to sa imong nursing at that time when you were in
So,
college?
honestly speaking, at the first year, I was kind of part of the dean's list because as a
Okay.
very studious and all that. During the second year, that's when things turned the other way. I
Okay.
was more like inclined already to fashion. And, in school, there are beauty pageants. And then nursing wise, you have a candidate that's really potential. And people will say, can you be the chaperone for the, things like that. There's always things that always put me astray from designing.
Mhm.
Even still, when I was studying nursing, they would say, "Oh, you take care of the pageant side, you take care of the
Mm.
clothes or the
Mm.
costume." So they always pull me out from the hospital duties, and then they say, "Okay, Dexter is exempted for this day because he's going to be accompanying the candidate." So it's always like that. So people always like bring me to the fashion side, pull me out,
Katong when you
and
were asked by your Cebu State College teacher to write about fashion, why were they asking you to do that? Were you making clothes already? Were you drawing clothes? Nga naman, what inkling did they have nga
ah,
nagpadung ka sa fashion? Because of course, art
yeah.
can go in many ways, right? So maybe you're making clothes already, drawing clothes. What man? Nga naman.
Because there was a prom season and
Hmm.
some of my classmates who are like barcadas, I made a few clothes for them. But at the same time, my cousin, who has a business partner before, Ais Calderon Alazas, had this boutique. It's called Rina. It's
Mhm.
named after my pamankins Ria and Ina
Okay.
Alazas.
Okay.
And Dodong Bandibas was one of the designers there.
Wow.
And my cousins would say, "You visit the shop. Maybe you'd like to be a designer one of these days." So I always just observe, and people would say, "Oh, we brought Dodong Madibas to Hong Kong. We bought these fabrics." And so I was imagining maybe that's a really exciting job, no? Maybe one of these days I can apply in my cousin's boutique before. So I said, maybe it's really a thing that I can think about, later on. So that's when it happened. But in high school, back in school, my teacher will always tell me, "I think you're destined for this." They always need someone to really be, doing the performing arts. So when I graduated, I got the performing arts award and the literary award for my writing in fashion. So I'm sure it's very very basic, but that's how it started.
So
Yeah.
so why did you get any formal education when it comes to fashion designing, Dex. So you really learned the
Yeah.
hard way, the school of hard knocks. Hard knocks. You really actually went and had apprentice, became an apprentice of many fashion designers, right? So how was it?
Yeah.
What was the experience like? And Murakag, were you at a disadvantage because you didn't know fashion designing from an academic standpoint?
Yeah. You know what? I didn't really consider that as a sort of how do you call it, a disadvantage, because maybe there's a rebel inside of me that says, if people can do it, why can't we? You don't necessarily need to study, fashion design to become a designer, because there's also a great designer before who said that to me, like, to become a fashion designer, you need to be three things. Either you're rich, you're established, you have the money to create your own design line, you can do it. You can be a designer, you call yourself a designer. You can either be talented, you can be, you can study and be talented and you get hired by these companies, right? For department stores or big brands like Lualde, Pen Shop. Or you can be very lucky. You can do hard work, you work hard, and then you go around, surround yourself with the right people, and maybe one day, if somebody needs you, then you're right there on the spot. So I never really took it as a disadvantage. In fact, when I started, people would say, asa na siya gikan? Because I'm a nursing student no nga.
Mm.
Na everyone was in USC. All the designers that are now established now, part of them, most of them were from USC, the only school before. So I never really got that sort of idea that I'm not fit for it, because um, for me, fashion actually is very personal. It has to be very, very distinct. Your passion for fashion isn't just about studying it. It's really about knowing and learning at every day of, the ins and outs of fashion. And I had that already. I had already the mannequins at home. I see the costureras of my sister. There's machines there. So what are these things for? These are like signs that I need to take care of. Otherwise, if I didn't take care of that, it would have been sold in a very cheap price, because we didn't need it. But since I said I needed to, so that's how it happened. And my mom went back to Cebu. She never went back to the States and just supported me. So I kind of was guilty of that, because it was supposed to be the other way around, us going abroad, but my mom had to come back and support me. So like that.
Wow, what a journey so far. Dex, let's talk about the world before this pandemic. What
Yeah.
was the biggest challenge of Dexter Alazas?
There were a lot of challenges, Jake. Actually, you just don't know, but we had a lot of problems, from financial to what are we going to do with our pending clients and orders, to the space that we have right now, and what are all these things going to be, for if we don't have a fashion industry anymore, or the fashion business would, be continue to go down the drain.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the
So there
world
were a lot.
before the coronavirus. Let's talk about pre-coronavirus, before the
Okay.
pandemic, and then because we'll talk about where we are now in this
Yeah.
coronavirus. But looking back, what do you think was Dexter Alaz's biggest challenge before this
Okay.
pandemic hit?
Before the pandemic.
Before the
Okay.
pandemic hit.
Well, the biggest challenge probably was to really, really, be able to um, get your message across, because there's a lot of established designers. You only have a small voice in this piece of industry. If you don't have that pure passion and advocacy, that's something that makes you distinct from the rest of the other designers who are really established and has gone a long way from, making a name for themselves. So the challenge now is my advocacy, because I've been sort of like advocating for the local weaving industry in Cebu. It's called the Hablon industry. It has been a dying industry for quite a long time. So that was one of the challenges, to get that message across, that we designers from Cebu locally has to source our fabrics and take care of the dying industry here. And I did actually successfully was able to, tell everyone that I'm doing this, but it needed more sort of help from LGUs to the private sector, because not everyone wants to wear a local fabric. Maybe there's a very Cebuano mentality or a Filipino mentality that we will always want to wear brands from abroad, and whatever is local, we don't like it because it's local. So that was one of the biggest challenges. But at the same time, also, you're getting a little older, and then there's a lot of new designers influx coming up because of the small, all these like fashion institutes in the Cebu. So there's a lot of designers. Like before, we have to struggle and research a lot on the things that we do in fashion. But now, just a click of a phone, Instagram or whatever, you become famous, and you can always tell people that you're already a designer. So the biggest challenge there was sustainability, to be part of an industry for that long and to keep your momentum there, but at the same time putting your message across and telling people that, hey, I'm not just a fashion designer doing clothes and manufacturing and catering to clients, but we have a sort of industry here that we need to help, like the local Hablon industry, the textile industry. Because for me, fashion industry shouldn't be called a fashion industry if there's no manufacturing side of it. Otherwise, it's just a pure business. It's a fashion business, but it's not a manufacturer. If there's no manufacturing for textile and fabrics, it really is a big story, because even agriculture is part of fashion.
Wow. Okay, we'll get to that in a few moments, but I just wanted to go back a little bit when you told me about how you failed your board exams in nursing and how you got awards for
that was the NCLEX. That was
NCLEX.
The CGFNX.
Yes,
I passed the local board. Yeah.
So and how you got a lot of awards in your accomplishments in fashion. Yeah. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was a pretty trajectory altering moment in your life, right? That was perhaps the fork in your life, the crossroads, right? And had you passed the nursing NCLEX board exams for abroad, would you have pursued it? Would you have dropped everything here in Cebu and went abroad and took up and worked as a nurse in the United States to help your mother, or would you still have pursued fashion designing?
Well, definitely, fashion will always be part of me. It's always in my heart. So definitely I would, go abroad and really pursue the opportunity that I got, because passing an exam abroad isn't that easy. You need to review a lot of stuff. And then, but I would really go abroad because, that's also my ticket probably of going global. And when I'm there, when you're a nurse somewhere abroad in the US or somewhere else, if you're passionate, it'll always be there. It will always come out. And so whatever is authentic in you, whatever is in your cup, it'll always spill out, sort of.
Dex, what was the light bulb moment you think? Nga morag nakaingon ka nga, this is it, man. Like, but we always listen to our gut because somehow it's always right. It always knows the right answers, right? So when was that? Was there like a moment in your life when nakaingon ka nga, this is it, this is what I'm going to pursue?
Well, you know what? There's a series of fortunate events, I should say. It's not just one, Jig. I would never say that it's just one. One would be the failure of, the passing the exam,
NCLEX,
because I made it really like the turning point. I said, if I don't make it here, I make it somewhere, and the somewhere is fashion. And so there's a sign also. There's always a reason and a sign when you fail in something. I was really, really soaring high on fashion, and people telling me that you have a really great collection. It's not just for the sake of a fashion show. It really is nice. So I believed in that. I always believe in what people say if I feel that's right. That was one turning point. And then there's always that luck factor. I guess there's luck is always on my side, because there was also a fashion design competition in Manila. It's called Mega Magazine Young Designers Competition. And the big winners there before were Fern Onay, Mario Ratersas. These are big names in fashion already. And I was dreaming of that. And I was given the chance to represent Cebu with 2 other designers here. So 3 from Manila, 3 from Mindanao, 3 from Cebu. I guess like that's it. And so I was really happy doing that. That was also the time that I wanted to use the Hablon material from Cebu. But in year 2000, it was so hard to, get that from Argao. It's like back then, I feel it's so far away. Like 2 hours away from Cebu or 3 hours away to Argao is really something. So I said, maybe one of these days I'll look back on it and use that again in the future. So moving forward to 2014, I was able to do that. So it really is just your mind conditioning. I think it's a mood set or a mindset that you just need to hold on to. It's like a dream. You cannot just dream about it and the next day dream again. You have to wake up the next day and work hard for it, and then so you make it. So I think that's about it. And at turning point, when you say what is the milestone that really got me into this, it's a series of events. It's a series of luck, all these luck, because otherwise I don't really consider myself that talented, honestly speaking. I can't even really perfectly draw a figure. I can sketch, but not really totally like that. And I don't even know a lot of like fashion design jargons, things like that. So there's never really a perfect formula, I guess, for being a designer. You just need to have your passion there and work hard for it, because otherwise, if you have the passion, if you have the talent, but you don't work hard for it, then I guess it would just fade away. So to answer your question, it's like a series of all these lucky things that happened to me, and I'm happy that it's still here.
Dex, looking back at your career as a fashion designer, what do you think is the most gut wrenching challenge that you had that you would not wish on anyone, and you would never want it to ever happen again, but it sort of helped define you as Dexter Alazas?
Well, you know what? That's a very difficult question. It's like a pageant, no? But there are a lot of things. I just don't want to say it, but
Okay,
you know
maybe you
what?
can tell us what you can say.
Well, it's always a challenge when you're a fashion designer and you're working on your means and your budget financially in like mobilizing the business or creating. There are two things. Sometimes you take care of the business, or you have to be very creative, or you have to take care of the business. Sometimes you sacrifice your creativity. So for me, it's really that challenge of one of the biggest challenges actually is really manpower. That is the problem now, because all these sastres, beaders, I mean embroiderers are getting old, and they're dying by the number. So we need to bring it back, the skills, that dying industry already. We need to get it back in shape, and that was one thing, because it's a struggle always to look for the next best sastre who is going to be employed by you, and they're always pirated by other designers. You can always pay them bigger than what you can do, you can offer them.
Mhm.
So that's one of the challenges, the jig. So in fashion business is not a simple business. It really is very, it's very, how do you call that? Let's just say it's kind of like, it's still business after all. So you have to really take care of your finances. You have to take care of all these challenges, deadlines, clients, contracts. So it's not very simple. It's really complicated if you think about it. You need a whole army to really, sustain that level of professionalism.
Mm. Dex, I was asking you to look back at the biggest challenges, the biggest problems, the biggest trajectory altering events in your life. But of course, we are now here in this CoronaVerse.
Yeah.
Now, I venture in saying that this might be one of the fashion industry's biggest challenges. How are you holding up? How's Dexter Alazas doing in this new normal, and how is the fashion industry coping?
Well, in general, Jig, globally speaking, there's a lot of brands that were affected. A lot of big companies have closed their doors. Business is really suffering. Business people, fashion business per se, it's really like holding on to whatever you can hold on to. But locally speaking, I should say that I'm not that sad. I'm kind of a little sad, but you have to just reinvent yourself and go with the times, because I think digital is the way to go. Even like what we're doing now, these Zoom meetings are very advantageous for us because we don't necessarily need to go out and work that hard. like before, we can always transact through online. There's deliveries, so we have people to deliver these clothes to our clients and orders. And now there's retail, so we can always create ready-to-wear brands for all these clients. So I'm not saying that I'm very blessed, but I'm happy that I was able to navigate myself to all these problems and you know um, reinvented myself because I've been doing online work now. I'm not just doing fashion. I do consultancy for some brands and companies whenever there's a fashion and lifestyle needs that they're looking for. So they call on to me. And I get hired also as well. So now that the pandemic is still here, we cannot just freely move around. Um, I'm happy that I'm able to, work for people and clients for brands that needed my expertise. And so I think totally the world is affected, but if you just do something about what's happening now, go with the times. If the coronavirus can mutate, so can I. So I told myself I need to do something about what I can do. So I reinvented myself. I called myself now a stylographer.
And what? A stylographer.
A stylographer.
What's a
So funny
stylographer?
because
What's up, a stylographer?
well, there's nothing, there's a definite no definite meaning in the dictionary. I just made it up. No, but
Exactly. That's
it
why
sounds like
you can define it on your own terms. So what is a stylographer according to
yes.
Dexter Alazas?
Yeah, well, since I'm a fashion designer, I can do fashion, I can design, so I can style. So
Okay.
in fashion, you can either be a consultant, you can, do personal styling, you can design clothes. I can even now offer space styling when, when there's a need for it, like, interior, furniture, something like that for, for condos or something like that. So I reinvented myself. It's kind of like a choreographer, but a stylist at the same time. So I just made it up because I need to reinvent myself and offer other services that I'm not, I'm capable of.
But you're still designing clothes now.
I am,
So
yeah.
how has the design sensibility changed with all of this going on? There's no, there's nowhere to go. I mean, there are barely any
Yeah.
events, so people don't really need to, I guess, dress up. So how has the design sensibility changed? Are people more daring? Are they more conservative? Are they more subtle? Are they more prudent? Sa naman, Dex, what's the mentality
Yeah.
like now for fashion?
Well, you know what? It's funny because I think fashion just suffered a little setback when the pandemic started, but now it's coming back.
Okay.
Clients are now coming in, they're now ordering clothes. I did a wedding already last year, and now I have a wedding coming June. And so I have clients, regular clients who I'm very loyal to me. So I now do personal service. I go to their homes instead of them coming to, because I closed my shop
Okay.
last year. Yeah, I closed it and I don't want to open it again yet. So I'm now doing personal services to all my clients. I go to their houses, I do fittings there, and my staff work from home, and then we just meet up, and or either they go to my house, and then I'll be the one to go to the client's house, because the clients also didn't want a lot of people, going out and meeting up with them. So that's one thing. I also created a new line of shirts. It's called Alias. It's an alias with a Z. So it's kind of like baby line. So I'm making these shirts. I'll show you later.
Please.
Yeah, so I'm making these shirts because it's very stylish. I have this barong shirt. I call it a barong t-shirt. It's like a street style barong, but the print is in vinyl, and I had it printed like a barong embroidery.
Interesting.
So I'm earning a little bit on that. That's retail is really now the way to go. If you're
so you have like a website that you're selling your items?
No, it's just my personal Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I send it to my clients and they like it, they order. So far it's been doing good. It's like a shirt line, and I'm developing a new ready to wear for this summer. I'll have a fashion show in Manila in April 27 with a Manila Fashion Festival. And so I'm going there on April, end of the month. So I'm doing that, and plus I continue my fashion advocacy with the Hablon. So a
Tell
few
us
of my
about that. Tell
clients,
us about your fashion advocacy, because you're not only a fashion designer, you're also a sustainable fashion advocate. And tell us about
yeah.
hablon. Ano sa maning hablon?
Okay, from the word hablon is actually a Bisaya term which means what's this? To weave. Hablon is the weaving process.
Okay.
So hablon. When the material is made already, it's called hinablon.
Okay.
So gihablon, hinablon. And it's a fabric. I don't know. It's a skill that was passed down from generations to generations. And when I discovered back in 2000, there were only a few weavers already.
Okay.
So in 2014, I was able to talk to Vice Governor then, Agnes Magpale,
Mhm.
that this is really something that we have to look into because we have this fashion industry, we have this garments industry sort of, but nobody is taking care of it. So I tried to like persuade her and really, really, give me a chance to really do it. We went to Argao, and sadly there were only 8 weavers there. So that was scary because otherwise, and they're old. So otherwise it would be a dying industry. So I tried to, do my way to, to ask the local government to help. And then it's a skill that is now, instead of dying industry, it's now thriving industry. So we had the help from DTI. People from DTI knows about it because they gave the shared service facility, the SSF, was already given to Argao because of the proposals that we did. So there's now 25 looms there. So it can employ already a lot of women in the community. Those who don't want to come to the city to work are now employed there. And you can just go there in the facility and, try your skill there. And, you're paid by the number of meters, you can
What does it
produce.
look like, Dex? Ano sa may itsura ng hablon? Mura nagpina like a banig? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
Can you wear that? It's
definitely.
sama na siya.
Yes, people before thought that it's unwearable.
Mhm.
It used to be for the habol, from the word hablon, habol.
Murag, okay.
It's for curtains, for
For curtains, okay.
drapery, for yes. So, but of course, that was before when the fiber it really is really texturized, like abaca and
Okay.
pure cotton. But now there's a synthetic fiber, actually, although it's not encouraged, but it's what we have right now. It's a synthetic thread that you just buy from local stores and have it woven by all these weavers. So it's a hand loom. So it's like a machine that is
Mhm.
hand loom. You weave it, and then it creates into a fabric. But of course, when you're a designer, you can always reinvent it and make it. I created patterns for it. Because before
You customize
they
it,
only
Silvi.
yeah, you customized your own design. Before the weavers only know of the basic, with the checkered and the stripes, which is the usual like local fabric that you see. But now, when I was able to teach them, I created already different patterns. So it was already like fully developed, and I introduced it to everyone from my clients to everyone in the local government, and it's really been good. In fact, in the SEA Games, about 2 years ago, it was used as a giveaways for towels for the
Wow.
for the for the SEA Games. So it gave really a big industry to Argao now. And
So this is
now it's
organic
not just
in Cebu, in Argao, or is this
yes.
something that the Philippines actually makes? Or sa Cebu ra gyud ni siyang hablon?
No, the term will differ already in every region.
Okay.
Like in Davao, it's called pinalak,
Okay.
right? In Abra, it's called Abel Iloco.
Mhm.
In Sagada, in Baguio, there's this other terms also as well. In Iloilo, there's also hablon.
Mhm.
So all the other regions in the Philippines have that. It's just sad that Cebu didn't have that. Compared to all these regions, the local government sort of like created a sunset industry out of it. So
Mhm.
they didn't want to pursue that. Sad to say.
So in other
But
parts of the
now,
Philippines, there is still a thriving industry. You mentioned Davao,
yes.
Baguio, Iloilo. So their
Mhm.
industry there is still there. I mean, like bigger
Yes.
than us here in Cebu.
Bigger.
Medyo napasagdan ang
Yes.
Cebu. Is that what you're suggesting?
That is really
Yeah.
true. In
Yeah.
fact, when I was attending a webinar for the NCCA, National Commission for Culture and Arts, Cebu wasn't even mentioned.
Mhm.
The weaving community in Cebu wasn't even mentioned. The biggest weaving community is the aklan, which is the piña
Pinya.
fiber for the
So
barong.
similar na siyang material, Dex, pareha gitsura gid na siya, more or less.
The
Kana-
piña material comes from silk, pineapple fiber,
Okay.
pineapple silk. So it's from that special pineapple. It's not the fruit-bearing pineapple.
Hmm.
It's a different pineapple, piña, where it's fibrous.
Okay.
That's what they use for the piña fiber.
Okay.
It's different there. The Iloilo also, it's cotton,
Okay.
right? In Tinalak, it's a mix of cotton and pure cotton and abaca.
Okay.
So in different regions, it's endemic to them. So it's different name, it's a different material. It's like that.
So
But
sa
in
Cebu,
Cebu,
what are we using? And dili na siya itchy. Is it comfortable to wear ba?
because it isn't used as a shirt. It is used as a sort of a garment, which is like a made to order blouse or
Mm.
a long gown. You can put lining. We always put lining on it, and you do something with a fabric that soften it and all that. So
Mm.
it's not very wearable. In fact, I have clients who I call localites. They're not socialites. Some of them are really socialites, but I call them localites for the record, because they are people who love local fashion.
Yeah.
These are our supporters. These
Mm.
are women who know what this industry is all about, and
Yeah.
without them, we won't be recognized. But these are the women that I really love so much, because they do understand the industry. They understand their creativity, but at the same time they want to help a community. So these are the women I call localites, and so proud of them, because they always tag me on Facebook and hashtag certified localite wearing a Dexter Alazas. So
I
I'm
like
so
that.
happy.
Local line. Dex, I've
Yeah.
said this many times. I'll say this again. The coronavirus, this pandemic, is an accelerant of things that are supposed to happen already, but didn't happen due to whatever excuse that we have. Now we are forced into doing what we're supposed to do in the first place. And one of the things that we're supposed to do in the first place is to support local. With this crisis that we're going through right now here in the Philippines, is there like a surge of customers that are supporting buying local? Do you see that happening, Dex?
Well, honestly speaking, all over the Philippines, there's a lot of women and people who really, really go to trade fairs, all go to these exhibits who offer local fashion. In Manila, it's really a big thing in Luzon. People there are really very supportive. In the Visayas and Mindanao, there's also a few. But in Cebu, sadly, there's still like a growing community that is supporting this one. So basically, it's there already. And in fact, we have this organization called Philippine Fashion Coalition. It's a new umbrella organization that started last year in the pandemic, who's supporting local designs now. And because we're forced to actually, wear local and support the SMEs and all these like small businesses here, we're now having this hashtag love local, and to really just support everyone in the fashion industry. And I'm happy that we're on the way. And I think there's a new promise for the new decade, which is starting now, 2021. It's a new promise for us to really go back to our roots and take a look at what we have here in the country. In fact, just to let you know, Christian Louboutin, the shoemaker, who's an international
yeah.
designer, yes, actually was able to get hold of fabrics in Manila and created a bag line for himself abroad, and it's selling like 80 to 100,000 per bag using the local fabrics.
Wow.
So if an international designer can patronize our local, why can't we? So that's the biggest question now for all these these designers and all the manufacturers. Why can't we do that? But I'm sure there's a few people, exporters and people who really understand the industry, who are really doing that. So that's
Dex, what do
something
you
that
think
we
will
can
it take for Cebu, for locals to support each other? Because it's really a no-brainer. I mean, we are the only ones that can help ourselves, especially in a pandemic such as this, when we are locked down and can't travel. So it's really just us that can help
Yes.
ourselves, right? And if it's not enough, what else can you do? I mean, like, what will it take? What do you think will it take for us to really support local in a major way?
Well, I guess you know what. I think we have to call the attention of the LGUs, because it's always them who can always get a big push, make a mandate, or create something in writing that we should support our local products and our local designers per se, because otherwise people are only focused. Not of course we need to take care of our health, right? And the coronavirus is still there. It's the number one priority, no doubt about it. But we also need to, we need a local government, leader to really put a mandate on this one and create like sort of, I don't know how to call it, like you give me the right word, Jiggy, but something like that. It has to have an authority that says that we really have to take care of it, and the fashion industry has been something like they set aside for the longest time, and I guess now it's high time for them to I know to think about it, because it's not just the designers that are affected. It's the sastres, the beaders, the weavers, the people who were not able to get formal education and took up courses that could propel them into wherever they want to be. But these are people who are part of the community who are not able to afford education, and so these are the ones that we need to help, because otherwise they're gonna just die down and forget about the skills. And these skills have been handed down for generations. It's something very Filipino, very Cebuano in us that we need to take care of, because like if Japan, China have their kimono, Japan has a kimono, China has their cheongsam, where is our Filipiniana and our local national dress, stand for?
Yeah,
So
and
it's
they're actually
really,
beautiful looking. I'm trying to crack my head on trying to put a finger on what's wrong. And I think one of the things that are probably stopping us from buying local is the price. Isn't a local stuff a little bit more pricey than say something that's made in China?
well, that's true, because something hand woven, something done by hand is a little bit pricey.
Hmm.
But for me, I always tell my clients, it's not about the price, but it's also about how you can help a community grow.
Yeah.
It's also how you can, become a socially responsible person to really help out and try to make a difference. Not just somebody who dresses up well and chooses clothes to make them beautiful, but somebody who has a heart also to help out the communities. And I'm not saying about just designers, because designers are just the ones who are already promoting this, but these are the ones that who need help more. These are the communities that we need to build and develop all over
But how about
Cebu. Or
practicality, Dex? Practicality lang. No, not tag practicality.
yeah,
Is a hand woven fashion item, let's say a hablon, is
yeah.
it more durable than, let's say, a regular polo that you just bought from the mall and was probably bought from Malaysia or something like that? In terms of
Yeah.
durability, mas likon ba ng kaning hablon nga gitahi by hand compared to a
Yeah,
polo just bought in, or a dress just bought in Malaysia or Thailand, for example, that's exported here?
yeah.
Mas ligon ba na siya?
Well, actually, it's not that ligon gyud siya. Mura siya, it's still very delicate, but
Mhm.
there's always like a washing care for it.
Mhm.
You have to hand wash it. You cannot put it on a washing machine. You have to
Mhm.
take care of it, like a barong. You have to
Mhm.
dry clean it.
Mhm.
It's still a niche market.
Okay.
But if we can develop everywhere around the world, you can mix lycra with silk.
Mhm.
You can mix different blends, and we can always like ask help from all our neighboring countries like Japan
Mhm.
or China, wherever, to help the local government and put up a machine here that can blend all these materials together and create like a lycra silk or something
Mhm.
like that, because it can always be possible. Nothing is really impossible, because even in the world, plastics are going into clothes all over the world, right?
Mhm.
Even shoes or something like that. So I'm not saying just for fashion per se, which is what we're wearing now. It can be done through homeware, can be also used for other things, maybe a home collection or something like that. So fashion is just something that is kind of like more popular in terms of promoting it, but the hablon per se can be used for other materials as well. So it's really just up to us how to innovate it and use it in a lot of ways. So although it's still a niche market, but consider it like a piece of suit. It's a very expensive have to have a tuxedo done. Why don't you have it done in a local material, which is sablon, which can be very comparable to a wool. It's still woven. So there, it's still very expensive, but everybody buys a suit for like 10 to 20,000. But using the material, they're using wool, right? So why don't we use an alternative material which is local and create a suit out of it? Like for formal gowns, piña is really expensive. All these women buy piña. It's like 25,000 to 30,000 just for the material alone without the labor. But the hablon can always look like a piña if it's used the right way. So why can't they use a piña for just a 400 peso per meter cloth when the piña is like 5,000, 3,000, 2,000 per meter?
All of these things that you're talking about, Dex, I think one of the biggest challenges that we have is to include us in the narrative, right? Because I mean, like fashion industry, just like all industries, is very noisy. A lot of
Yeah.
alternatives, a lot of different styles and different fabrics and all that stuff. And I think one of the things that we need to do is be more available, perhaps, or be more engaging, and perhaps be more socially present in terms of social media platforms. And I think you're doing the right thing by doing it online as well, right? But kaning yung Filipino na gani tendency nga we don't really support our own unless they make it abroad, and then once they come back, they become like a big hit, right? Daghan kay mga inanang example nga dili sila successful sa Pilipinas, pero if they get a certain amount of success abroad, now that we start looking at them as giving them a chance and all that stuff. Is that still present by Dex, or are we less colonial now than we were, let's say, 10, 20 years ago?
Clear and present danger. Still very there, because people will always have that mentality. Filipinos are like that. It's the other way around abroad. Mm-hmm. When you introduce a local material from a foreigner, it's a wow factor for them. Mm-hmm. They believe that there's something done by a local community in the mountain barangays of the Philippines, and it's done by hand. They appreciate it more than buying the silk that they have somewhere else. So why isn't that mentality not in the Filipinos, right? So you could always say different regions, different nationalities will always have the different mindset. And like us also going to China, going to Bangkok, we always appreciate also something from there, like a souvenir. So maybe that's why also when they come here, we need to present to them something local, because that's what they need, and that's what they don't have abroad. So still the crab mentality is there, still there, I guess, But going back also to your suggestion also, Jig, that how we can help out, local governments should mandate the provincial or even the city to use local fabrics in the uniform.
And that's easy, right? That's a no-brainer.
Yes, no-brainer. At the same time, you're helping your own community, because you won't be very successful if you're from Cebu City but you're using China fabrics. So where does this this connection come from? Mm-hmm. So you have to support your own. Like if we have a government that is, how do you call that government? Where you're only regionalized or something like that. I forgot the term.
The one that some of the people behind Duterte are espousing, the federal government.
Federal government.
Federalism, yeah.
Federalism. You cannot spend so much from wherever you're from. That's how you help a community. Build your own community. You buy your own food from your own community and utilize your own in the community. So if there's a lot of government employees and a lot of LGUs using local fabrics in their uniforms, then that's one way of helping it, because they're from the government. Why do they have to use
exactly
fabrics from China? Right?
And it's immaterial if it's expensive or not, because it's a law, right? So you have to use local fabric, because again, going back to the price, Mangyod, I mean, I'm sure I'm really looking at the project, but the idea that we have. Telescoping a few months, a few years after, makaingon ko nga problema na sana, presyo na po na siya, but it's a law. So you can't you can't not follow a law. It's a government becoming an example of how you should behave as a consumer, right?
But there's also what we call the law of supply and demand. If the
Yeah.
demand is so high, then the
No,
price
barato na
would
sad.
always go down.
Yeah, yeah.
Barato na sad siya. So there's that story also that if it's massive and then the local government is helping these communities, mabarato na siya because it's widespread naman. This is what's happening also in Iloilo. That's how the community there, it's called Miagao. There's a local community there. The weavers there are not depressed. They have a thriving, they're even richer than the other people because their fabrics are being used in school uniforms. Their fabrics are being used by LGUs there.
That sounds
So
like a
you'd
brilliant idea,
understand.
Dex. Why isn't anybody doing that, man? That sounds like a brilliant idea.
I
Asking
don't.
all the government
Yeah,
agencies to use local fabric and all that stuff, looking only
yeah,
local designers.
exactly.
It's a no-brainer.
No, I really don't know why, Jig, because it should start from the government. It should start from
Yeah,
these people who give us examples of, good examples,
yeah.
what I mean. Where us in this private sector are helping and promoting it to the niche market, they alone should be the ones to spearhead it on the local government level.
Dex, I have to admit, Dex, I don't want to look like and sound like a hypocrite. Pero ako, Dex, I'm not really exposed to fashion in Cebu ba. Ang akong mga sinuluban,
Yeah,
wa adyo ko yung local ba nga napalit bitaw in a long, long time.
yeah,
I have to admit that right
yeah.
now. In fact, nag-guilty kasi ako because I had a chance to talk to a friend from Common Ground, si Kaz Unozawa ba. And
Yes,
then
yeah.
they
I'm friends
sell
with
like
Kaz.
they support local fashion, right? Like mga t-shirt, nga
Yeah.
local and all that stuff. Aside from Common Ground, Dex, where should I go? Like, convert me. Tell me what to do and how to shop so that I can start
Okay.
supporting local. Because ako ang mapalit, mura mabira na ko nga na ay makita na ko
Yeah.
sa mall, palito na ko, makita na ko sa Shopee,
Okay.
palito na ko, wala na siya. I'm not. I guess I'm lazy like that. But maybe with your help, can you guide me? How can I start supporting local in my purchases? Go ahead, Dex. Tell us.
Well, with your help, Jiggy, being a professional, in the radio and in hosting, you have a voice. You have this platform that can always talk to people. It can start from you, actually. I created this Wear Cebu campaign.
Mhm.
Maybe you can support that. It's just something that I made up. I mean, Wear Cebu is like a sort of not really a rebellion, but it's kind of like an invitation for Cebuanos to wear at least something local in
Mhm.
your closet. If you have a tuxedo, if you have a suit, you have a branded gown in your closet, you must have at least one local brand because otherwise that's the only way to support local. If 10 people are existing in this world and 9 of them are using the local materials, then it's successful, right? So if there's a lot of us who really support the Wear Cebu campaign to start telling people to, you always buy an Armani, you always buy a tuxedo wherever, but you can at least, have a local barong or a local hablon suit, which some of my niche clientele is doing now. I always tell them, wear Cebu on your heart, wear Cebu on your sleeves because that's the only way to support it. Even just one dress, like you have a little black dress. Women always have a black dress in their closet just in case they need something very generic. If there's also a chance for you to wear something local in a certain event, then we could always say that we needed something very local. If almost all the events will be dress code as Filipiniana or local or Cebu wear or something like that, then we'll always have a ready costume for it. So
But
it's
Dex,
always like a mindset.
those are for proms, for special, once in a lifetime events.
Yeah,
Medyo maglisod sa tan og kaning
yeah.
have a support in
Sustained.
a major way ba. But how about something more casual, more something
Okay.
that you can wear every day? Where should I shop? Where should I go? Do you have anything for me on your Facebook page? Can I wear something on somebody's website from Cebu every day?
Yeah.
Nabay Nana Dex or kanang parang
Yes.
special events na yun na ang local fashion?
Well, when we talk about Cebuano brands lang, of course, Kaz will be one of them, local ground, because there's like a shirt line that
Common ground, yeah.
Common Ground will
Yeah.
always use local because it's local,
Mhm.
because it's made in Cebu.
Mhm.
But you have to think again of the material. Where is it from?
Yeah.
still from China.
Mhm.
Our shirts are still from China,
Mhm.
but manufactured locally, printed here.
Mm.
We're still there's this like
Mm.
local global
Mm.
brand
Mm.
per se.
Mm.
But when you talk about really local lang, well, I'm creating clothes for Hablon, I'm creating barong, I'm creating ready to wear for that. That's something. But when you just talk about local lang, there's lots of local brands like I have a shirt line. Ant Hill also has their own line of
Is it
clothing, which
is
is
more casual and you don't have to go
yes,
to a wedding to wear?
yeah, more casual,
Mhm.
especially for women.
Mhm.
For guys also, linen can be a good alternative as well if you don't want to wear hablon. So there's also like, well, there's department stores who also offer like, pinya or cotton. There's always there. But my take on this is that it's not necessarily the us really wearing it on a daily basis. It's just us just really owning something local in your
Mhm.
closet. It's
Mhm.
really manufactured locally, hand woven locally,
100% local.
embroidered. Yes, it's 100% local. Then that's the only way we say that we really love local, because everything from start to finish is local. And now that since we're talking about this, it really we need to call the Department of Agriculture on this story, because manufacturing comes from textiles and from fabric. So from fiber to fabric before it comes to fashion, the root cause is always the industry behind the
Mhm.
agriculture. So it's really, really a big, issue. It's really a big story. It takes years and years to have this done, but we can start now. 10 years ago, somebody started something, and look at what happened now. So if we start now, another 10 years, it's going to be something bigger for the next generation.
So when you're calling out the Department of Agriculture, do you mean uh, asking them to encourage planting of certain kinds of plants
Yes,
that can be woven into clothes, into cloth? What particular are we talking
correct.
about? Are we talking about pineapple, piña, or
Yeah.
how about for the hablon that we
Okay.
have here in Cebu? Unsa man ang klase nga tanom, Dex?
Well, honestly speaking and scientifically speaking, Cebu it's limestone. Cebu
Mhm.
isn't an agricultural land,
Mm.
but there's another material here. It's called magay.
Mhm.
It's magay sometimes. It's
Mm.
called magay. It's just a
Magay.
grass. It's like
Okay.
a snake plant. It's a snake plant.
Okay.
It's now being developed as the next material to abaca because it
Okay.
just grows anywhere. It's like a street plant. It
Mhm.
just goes anywhere. You
In
don't
the
need a
Philippines, in
very
Cebu.
in in the Philippines and in
Mhm.
Cebu, we're
Mm.
trying to do that. And I spoke with people also from PhilFIDA, the Philippine Fiber Development Authority. So these are the people who are under DAR,
Mhm.
under Department of Agriculture (DA). So they're now doing a community in what's this Barili, who's growing these plants, and there's already a facility there, the Magay extraction. So it's a fiber extraction facility that's under Department of Agriculture that's now producing all these fibers. It's still a baby project because it can be coarse and very it's still like abaca. But later on, we can fine tune it, mix it with
Has
other
anybody made
blends.
anything out of it, Dex? Nanay nahimo nga t-shirt na itong pwede na to sa lobon.
Not yet. It's very early because it's like
Okay.
in its early stage pa.
Okay.
But
Okay.
one of these days, it's Department of Agriculture doing that. Maybe another DOST can help out. The Philippine Textile Research Institute, which is under DOST, the part of Science and Technology, can also help out in the facilities, in the kanang creating these machines or having a specs for creating these fibers and fine tuning it. So it's like an interagency help actually from planting to agriculture to the fine tuning with the DOST, and later on DTI can always help out in the promotion. So it's always like that. It should start from there because like I said, it's not a fashion industry if there's no manufacturing, and it's hard for in the sustainability index abroad, it's big. In the Philippines, it's not. So there's a difference there. We have to study more about sustainability in terms of fashion because we don't have that. But hopefully we can.
Dex, your career as a fashion designer has really been very interesting, and I can see that you've had so many ups and so many downs. You've had so many challenges. Now here we are in probably one of the biggest challenges the fashion industry has ever seen, an unseen enemy. COVID-19. Dex, what keeps you going? I mean, like you've been at this for how long has it been? 20 years? Longer, right?
You can say that again. Yeah, longer because I started when I was like 1994, 96.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's been longer, but
So
I would
Dex, what
like to
keeps you
consider it
going,
20
Dex? What
years.
keeps you going? Why are you still here? Why didn't you decide to just, stop everything and do something else? Maybe go back to nursing. I don't know if Dex. What's your inspiration?
Yeah. Well, I guess, just like the song, I guess I haven't found what I've been looking for. There's probably something else that I really need to prove myself for.
Okay.
The challenge is just within me.
Mhm.
It's always like I'm always challenging myself and moving on to the next step. And I guess it's really like part of my crusade, like a fashion advocacy, to really just put it out there. Because for me, we have to create a difference. Because if others can do it, why can't we? What stops Cebuanos from doing the things that need to be done? And for me as a fashion designer, I say because I love it. It's my passion, and it's also my profession. Because if you work with passion, it's not work for you. I enjoy doing it. Like now that I'm talking to you, I enjoy this conversation
I'm
because
enjoying it too immensely. Dex, when you
yeah.
said you still haven't found what you're looking for, what did you mean by that? Are you suggesting that this whole fashion advocacy that you have may or may not be the thing that you will find, but you are looking for it through these fashion advocacy eyes as a fashion designer, but maybe it'll lead you to perhaps a totally and a different industry? Because maglisod man ka og pangita si mohang ganahan makita index kung naara ka sa lugar nga where you are now, right? Sometimes it takes somebody to jump into something else, into totally unknown waters, to see what you're capable of. But you still being in this industry, Morakag, your opportunities are only within the industry. Are you saying that you're really just going to be in the fashion industry, maybe in a different form, and not, let's say, become a nurse all over again, or something like that? You get my
Yeah.
drift? Do you understand what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I,
about?
I, I did. I did.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Jake? That's a very interesting question, and I'm happy you asked that
Mhm.
because now, for me, I don't just consider myself a fashion designer. I want to be more than just a fashion designer moving forward because I want to help out communities. I want to, like I said, I'm a fashion advocate. I want to help more now, not just in fashion, but just product development.
Mhm.
I want to do more consultancy later on at the later part of the stage of my life because
Mhm.
I'm turning 50 in a few years now. So I want to, do more of these things and do
Mhm.
consultancy. But I'm so happy now that there's opportunities offered to me. In fact, I have something going on already on April 15 in Lapu-Lapu.
What is
I'm
this?
given
Share
the
to us.
opportunity to, yeah. So I'm given this opportunity to create an event and organize something. So I'm now creating, it's on the works now, so fast, just 15 days on the works. Um, it's called Mano Mano. You know the Mano Mano term, kanang
Mhm.
kinamot, Mano
Mhm.
Mano.
Mano-mano
That's a
lang. Oh.
local term.
Oh.
Yeah, Mano Mano lang, Ana. But because of the 500 years also of Lapu-Lapu's victory, sort of like that, it's Mano Mano, diba? It was a battle, it was a fight.
Mm.
Yeah, so Mano Mano is like an arts and crafts expo. I'm going to be doing that in Sultana. I hope to invite you there on the opening day
Yes, please. Yeah.
because it's an arts and crafts expo where I get to discover and expose artists and artisans who are doing things by hand. So these are things that are hand woven, handmade baskets, handmade guitars, maybe tattoo, body painting, work of art, and anything that just using their bare hands. So that's why it's called Mano Mano. So it's a start. I'm given this go signal, and I have the support also of Miss Cindy Chan, who is the first lady of Lapu Lapu, who is also the tourism head. So she said yes already to this one, and hopefully I can do more product development consultancies to Lapu Lapu one of these days because that's what she's looking for. So I'm happy that I'm given this opportunity to really create something for as an impact So maybe from there we can start, getting all the support that we need. So it has to start from there. So I don't want to say that I'm gonna abandon my being a fashion designer. It will always be there. But this time I want to work more even on, basket weaving, any form of weaving, anything that's done by hand, by local hands. Because I always believe that, artisans should be given credit to what they're doing. And by saving these artisans in their skills and promoting that, embroidery is slowly dying, hand embroidery. So we need to help that get back on their feet, and then helping a community. And those, we understand that Filipinos will never be as educated as anybody else, because of there's always that power struggle here. So maybe in that small way we can help them, use their bare hands and create more products. And that's my goal, like more on product development and helping communities.
Dex,
in the
just like
future.
many industries here in the Philippines and in the world, the fashion industry is also bleeding, is also suffering. What is your message to your brothers and sisters out there, Dex, who are struggling and are trying to find their way out of this CoronaVerse? What is your message to them, Dex? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, not just in fashion, but to anyone actually out there who's suffering, in this pandemic, financially, or being out of work, or just looking for something that they want to be busy of. All I can say is that just like the virus, you have to mutate with the virus. You have to adapt to the sign of the times, because it's here presented to us right now. And we cannot wait for what we were doing in the past and not moving forward to trying to adapt to what is new. So we have to innovate ourselves. We have to innovate our craftsmanship and our skills. Like what I said, I'm now trying to be a stylographer. I'm doing everything right now, but you know what? I've been like this for a long time. I've been like sort of practicing all my life to prepare for this pandemic. So I'm not just into one industry. I'm doing a lot of things, as you know. So all I can say to everyone is really just to go with the times. Now that we have this platform of being at home and being online all the time, use your voice and your capability to do things online. You can either be a social media influencer, you can be a host, you can, put your voice out there. You always have the freedom to do that. And make it as your platform, and maybe you can earn from it. Like even myself, I'm doing online retail now. I'm doing online modeling workshops. So you will always have that adaptability in you. Put that out there and try to, put yourself on hot waters. Try to take a risk, because without the risk, without falling, without failing, you can never sort of get back on your feet, right? Because you don't want to learn. So learning is always an everyday process, and everybody should, adapt to the times. Don't be afraid to explore, because every day is always a learning process.
Wow. Dex, before you go, I have to ask you this question. Where can I go? Because after this interview, I'm going to go online and try to buy something locally, because I'm scared I may not have anything local in my closet for a long, long time. I think the last local thing that I had was a barong that was 100% local. This was like decades ago. So Dex, where should I shop? Where should I go? Lead me to maybe your Facebook page, your website, that I can start wearing something local at least once a week. Now I'm going to go to Dex, right?
Yes. Well, definitely when you want to support local, there's a lot of local manufacturers, local brands right now. On my side, you can always reach me on my Facebook page. I also offer the Viber number that anybody can call me. I can always offer anything.
But did you have it on display on your Facebook page? Is it on display? I mean, can you
I
see
have
the
a Facebook page, but
Okay.
sadly my old account was hacked.
Oh no.
So, yeah, so it's still on the works.
Okay,
but I
okay.
hope but it's all there on my page. I have a page. It's called Amano
Okay.
Craft Creations. It's all about handmade materials, handmade local products. So I'm supporting local communities. I'm selling bags there. I'm selling accessories. I'm selling ready to wear clothes made of local materials.
What's it called again? Amano?
Amano Craft Creations.
.org?
No,
.com.
it's a Facebook page only.
Facebook. Okay.
I don't have a
Amano
website.
Amano
Craft Creations.
Craft Creations. Go to that Facebook page, and
Yes.
so this is your way of supporting local.
Local, yeah. Wherever I go around and get to see some items, I always like ask them if I could sell it on my page.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I give back to them whatever is sold. And then I have a shirt line. It's called Aliaz, Aliaz. It's
Asam sani, asam sani.
it's also on Facebook. I'm gonna show you the shirt.
Yes,
that,
please. Yeah,
can
you
I-
want to
can I
get it?
just
You
read
want to go
out?
get it now?
Yes.
All right. Ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen, Dexter Alazas, and showing off his line of
Okay.
t-shirts. It's called
So
Alias
this
with a
is the
Z.
shirt. This is the shirt.
Okay.
It's like a barong embroidery, but I had it printed on a vinyl.
Okay.
So it's like a shirt.
Wow.
See, that's
Okay.
a barong shirt. It's been very popular with my clients.
Yeah, that's
it's
looks
like
nice. What is that design? What is that?
It's a barong embroidery.
A
But
barong
I had it
embroidery.
printed. Yes.
Okay.
So instead of having this embroidered in the barong, it's on a shirt.
Yeah.
So it's like a street style barong shirt.
Okay.
So
Do you
it
have
still
that on
has
white?
the-
Do you have that on white?
I have white, black, and red. So
I'll
far,
definitely
but
get one off cam. I'll get one if you have it an extra small too, because I'm quite a small
Yeah.
person.
correct. I know that. And then I have it printed in black and white, or red and gold, or gold and black.
Okay.
So it's really there. So
All right.
this is one of the more popular brands that I
Where can you
have.
find this particular line of shirts?
It's on my page. It's called Alias. Alias is the page.
Okay, that's the name of the
Another
Facebook
page.
page, Alias as well.
Yeah.
So you can actually
Yes.
purchase online if I wanted to.
Yes. Yeah, but hopefully the hacker won't be able to answer in my behalf.
I'm gonna have to
So-
call you personally so that I will know it's really you and ask you
Yes.
a silly question that only you and I know, so that it'll be
Yeah.
sure na sigurado ko nga dili laing tao. Dexter
That's
Alazas,
why.
daghang salamat. It was a pleasure talking to you. And we could go on all day and all night talking about stuff here in Cebu. We haven't seen each other in a long time. There's so much
Yeah.
we need to catch up on. But I know that you have other things to do as well. And besides, the video might be too long for
Yeah.
most people to watch. So let's just maybe do a part 2 one of these days again, Dex, if you don't mind.
Of course, why not? Yeah, anytime. just to really help out. But I'm so happy that you're giving me this the call. I thought for a while it was a prank because it's April Fool's. But I'm so happy that we did this, and I miss you, of course.
Yeah. Same
And,
here.
I haven't, but I've been watching you and I'm
Well,
glad
thank
that you're
you.
doing.
Thank you so much.
Very
Dexter
inspiring.
Alazas, fashion designer and sustainable fashion advocate. Daghang salamat, Dex. You stay safe, okay?
Thank you, Jig. You too.
Thank you
God
so much.
bless.
Thank you.